Night hangs heavy over rural Missouri. The air is damp, thick, and quiet, the kind of silence that presses against your chest. It was sometime after midnight on April 25, 2021, when an emergency call shattered this calm. A young man's life was ending, and accusation, suspicion, and heartbreak were only beginning. This is the story of Darante Martin, a 19-year-old black teen whose death would become a lightning rod for race, justice, and truth. Welcome to Beyond Dark Secrets. Darante Lamar Martin was known in his hometown, Park Hills, Missouri, as a gentle giant. A former high school football standout, he was 6 feet 3 inches, loved by his friends, and full of dreams. His mother, Erica Lotz, described him as a kid who cared about his family, who joked, who planned for college. That night, Darante returned to his old neighborhood to attend a party, a prom after-party hosted at the home of James Wade. The house had a controversial reputation. Wade was known in the community for Confederate flags in his yard and bigoted posts on social media. On the evening of April 24, 2021, Darante and others gathered at Wade's home for a party celebrating Wade's daughter. According to Campaign Zero reports, music, laughter, and typical prom party chaos filled the house. But as the clock crept past midnight, tension began to thicken. Some guests later testified that Darante appeared anxious, unsettled, different from his usual self. At around 3:01 a.m., tragedy struck. James Wade placed a 911 call. That recording, calm, dispassionate, matter-of-fact, would become a cornerstone of a case that refuses to rest. According to the transcript, "Dispatcher, here with Madison County 911, what's the address of your emergency?" James Wade, yes, I need, the cops and an ambulance. Apparently a guy just shot himself." Dispatcher, "You said a guy just shot himself?" Wade, "Yeah." In the background, muffled voices rise. Fear, confusion, shouts. Wade's tone remains uncannily calm. Dispatcher, "Is he breathing at all?" Wade, "No." Dispatcher, "Do you want to try CPR?" Wade, hesitant, "Aura." Somehow he got in the back. There are long pauses, slurred words, and crackling phone connection. Then Wade, with chilling clarity, says, "I think he shot himself in the head." He adds, almost quietly, "He's gasping for air. I think he isn't, maybe 21. At 3:04 a.m., the call ends. No heroics. No desperate attempt to save a life. Just silence. That call would echo in investigations for years to come. First responders arrived shortly after. According to reports, EMTs and deputies made their way up to the attic, where Darante was found with a gunshot wound to his head. Wade told investigators what he already told dispatchers, that Darante had shot himself. Initially, the coroner ruled it a self-inflicted gunshot. The Missouri State Highway Patrol concurred. Yet something didn't sit right. Darante's mother, Erica Lotz, did not accept the ruling quietly. She had her son undergo a second, independent autopsy. That decision opened a floodgate of scrutiny. Witnesses came forward. During the coroner's inquest, Philip Lawler testified that Wade had allegedly told him, "I didn't like black people, and that killing him was easy." Another pathologist, hired by the family, disputed the official findings. He stated that the gunshot wound was not consistent with a close-range suicide, and that there was no soot ring on Darante's temple. Toxicology reports revealed that Darante had methamphetamine in his system, levels that investigators said could cause extreme paranoia. According to FBI elements, Darante had expressed fears at the party that he was being targeted. A friend had allegedly given him a gun for protection. But were these fears justified or manipulated? The community remained deeply divided. James Wade, whose home hosted the fatal party, was not just any homeowner. He had posted on Facebook defending the Confederate flag and mocking foreign accents. Following Darante's death, the inquest and public outcry highlighted a larger issue: systemic racial mistrust. Dozens of people marched for justice, calling for transparency, accountability, and recognition that, for many, this case was more than a tragedy, it was a symbol. In July 2021, a six-person jury convened to review the coroner's ruling. Witnesses spoke, testimonies clashed, and doubts piled up. After a few hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a shocking verdict. Darente did not die by suicide. They determined his death resulted from violence. That ruling rocked the community. For many, it was not just a breakthrough, it was a demand for accountability. In 2024, the FBI announced the results of its extended probe. According to Acting Special Agent Chris Crocker, after reviewing every piece of evidence, the conclusion was self-inflicted gunshot wound, not homicide, not a hate crime. But the FBI said something that caught many off guard. They claimed they conducted extraordinary steps during their investigation, assigning a civil rights specialist and involving the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. His family, however, remains unconvinced. Erica Lotz still says her son's life was cut short by more than chaos. Why did Wade sound so calm on the 911 call, even as Darente gasped for air? If it was suicide, how did the inquest jury unanimously decide it was violence? What does it mean that Darente had meth in his system, and was he thinking clearly? Will any charges ever come? Despite the jury ruling violence, no arrests have been made. And for many activists, does justice really only come when the world listens? Darente Martin was only 19. He was young, talented, and loved. But his final moments, and how his death was handled, became a story not just of a life lost, but of injustice, mistrust, and race. This case reminds us, even when someone is gone, the fight for truth continues. For his family, for the community, for every voice that demands we not accept easy answers. If this story drew you in, you're in the right place. On Beyond Dark Secrets, we unearth hidden truths, amplify silenced voices, and expose the shadows that still linger. Each week, we bring you new cases, shocking revelations, and dark truths that will keep you questioning everything. Don't miss the next story. Enter Beyond Dark Secrets, and watch carefully. The answers hide in places only the patient will find.